Welcome to the Sales to CEO podcast. This is your host, Louie Herron. This is the only automotive podcast that shows you how to get to the next level. It is my personal mission to coach, inspire, and motivate you to go from sales to dealer principal or any level you desire. Stop making excuses and start making the adjustments toward the future you want. Today, we are talking about how to set appointments that stick and show. Welcome. Another episode of Sales to CEO. I am thoroughly excited to speak to you today and tell you, man, today's topic is going to be something, because I know when you're in the car business and you're working hard and you're doing the things you need to do and you have this pressure to set appointments daily set appointments, and you can't get them to stick. You can't get them to show. We want to go through that today. I want to explain to you some of the reasons why that happens, and I want to give you a couple of things that will solidify making sure that your show ratio is higher than it currently is and get you to that 50-50 show to close ratio, and we'll talk about that shortly. Now, as we venture into this topic of appointments, I think it's very, very important that most of you listening may be very familiar with where you should be, but I need you to understand that you should have a 25% set appointment ratio to contact. Communication, a two-way communication, you should be setting 25% of those calls should be making appointments. Of that, 50% should show and 50% should close. Now, it's critical to understand those metrics, because part of the solution of getting appointments to stick and show is you got to know where you're at. So we're going to go through that and thoroughly kind of explain that to you today and understand the power of appointment. And really and truly, when you're talking about making appointments, it is the lifeblood of the dealership. It's truly where we all need to be on a daily basis. And individually, as a salesperson, even as a manager, we're always looking at how many appointments a day, how many appointments are set, how many show. We're looking at that weekly. We're looking at that throughout the whole course of the month. And it's imperative that salespeople join on board, not only for the dealership's sake, more specifically for your sake, because that's really where the power takes in understanding. So there's a part that I want you to really get and understand that I think it's overlooked. Let's assume you set 10 appointments for the week. 5 of those appointments should show, 2.5 car deals. So for the week, you set 10 appointments, 5 showed, 2.5 sold. I want you to focus on if only 5 showed, but you set 10 appointments, then 5 no showed on you. So just as actively do we pursue the appointments on making confirmations, sending out video, getting the car cleaned up, gassed up, ready to go the day of, setting directions. I'm going to get to that. Just as we're so vigilant about doing that side, it's also important to realize when you set 10 appointments and half of them don't show, what's the process? What are we doing to call back the no-show appointments on a regular basis to make sure we're getting everything done? Let me back up and let's talk about your goals real quick as it relates to appointments, because I think you really need to understand clearly what are you shooting for? As a sales professional, as an expert, your goal is to set 3 appointments a day. Now, when I say that, I don't want you to immediately assume you're having 3 shown appointments today. Every day. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is every single day throughout your communication with customers, you need to set 3 appointments per day, which means you could set an appointment today if it's Monday, and it may be for Wednesday. One may be for Friday, one may be for Tuesday. You've set 3. You want to track how many appointments you physically set per day. Understanding that if eventually, as you run through a 30-day window, you'll eventually have a point where you're having 3 appointments, an opportunity for 3 a day to actually show. So you're making 15 total appointments if you're working 5 days a week. Some of you guys hopefully are working 6 days, depending on your schedule, depending on your goals, depending on what you're trying to do in the auto business. You know, obviously you take your three appointments a day and multiply that times the days that you're working. But most of you should be setting 65 appointments a month. 65 appointments a month. So look at the power in the appointment ratio. At 65 appointments a month, if you did a better job and got 50% of those to show, that's 32 shown appointments. Now remember, we still got 33 that have not shown that we need to follow up with to get back in, but 32 shown appointments for the month. At a 50% close ratio, that's 16 car deals from appointments per individual. Now, if you're averaging, let's just use a round number of $400 a copy on a commission, okay, we could do the number if it's $200 a copy, but let's just say it's $400 commission per deal. That's $6,500 a month you can make on setting 65 appointments, provided that your show ratio and your close ratio is on point. So we're gonna talk about how do we get those 2 metrics right, because that's probably one of the most important things. So number one, here's what I want you to focus on. The first thing you're going to have to do, first thing I want you to do is start tracking your metrics, your KPIs, your key performance indicators. I want you to look at your daily appointments. Now, in my course, Sales to CEO University, in the course itself, I have an actual form where I actually show you how to track everything. I think it's that critical. Remember, you're going to learn, live, and then you're going to teach. If you're going to be a manager in the car business, you're going to go up to be a general sales manager. You're going to be a general manager. You've got to be able to teach and convey, but you've got to live it. You got to be able to understand, what did you do to get you to that point where you went to the next level. You've got to track where you're at. You cannot improve. None of us can improve unless we know where we're currently at. Right? I don't care if it's spending money in advertising. I don't care if it's inbound phone calls. I don't care if it's service ROs per day. I don't care if it's about menu presentations in F&I. I don't care if it's about appraisal process. Are we locking down 40% of all of our appraised vehicles? We look at every single metrics in the car business. You're a businessman, right? And there's a difference between being a car man and a businessman. And every level you climb up, you start learning more and more about the business side of it, and understanding the power of that. But you've got to make sure that you got to improve on this appointment deal. And the only way to do it initially is you got to be able to track where you're at. You got to know, am I setting 25% appointments? Am I getting 50% to show? Am I getting 50% to close? You have to know the starting point. You may realize that you're only setting 17% appointments and 32% are showing and 60% are closing. Well, what does that tell you? You're not setting enough appointments, you're closing phenomenally, and they're not showing, which means something's going on between when you're setting the appointment and prior to them getting here, and we're going to handle that. Let's talk about the appointment itself. Let's talk about the actual conversation. We're talking about, we're on the phone with somebody and we've established a two-way communication. Now, I don't know how it is in your dealership, but I would tell you, if I'm running your store, I'm involved in your store, any two-way communication that you have on the phone, first time, not a follow-up call for the third time or the fifth time or the seventh time, first time communication, inbound phone call, internet lead that you're working, that you finally got on the phone, or somebody that you finally followed up with on a B-back. When there's a two-way communication established and you do not set an appointment, that needs to go on a two-way communication sheet. That needs to go to the sales desk, and the sales manager needs to call that customer within 5 minutes. Think about this for a minute. If I'm working hard to finally get somebody on the phone, left message, non-responsive, left message, non-responsive, day 7, I get them on the phone, I can't set the appointment. Why would I not take a TO on that deal just like I would in the showroom? It's no different. It's your responsibility to get that information, go to the sales desk and say, Mr. Manager, do me a favor. It's taken me 7 days. I finally got Ms. Smith on the phone. I couldn't set an appointment. Can you call her right now? You have to make sure when there's two-way communication that you get a two-way sheet, is what I call them, and you get it to the desk. Okay, if you're not doing that, that's a golden nugget. That's easy. You don't have to do, I don't know how your store's set up, but you don't have to formally do this, but you could just physically know as a salesperson, get your desk manager to call right away. Make sure they take a TO on that customer. Let's back up to the conversation. Now we're in the conversation and we're trying to set an appointment with the customer. All right. Now I want you to look at this no different than if you had a meet and greet face-to-face conversation with somebody. When somebody comes on the lot, what do? We try to build some rapport. We try to slow things down just a bit. We try to make a connection, and we try to build a relationship. We're trying to make a friend. On the phone, you're doing the same thing, especially if it's a first-time contact with the customer. Now, they're going to come to you. Is that your best price? They're going to come to you with where you're located. Is the car still available? Got it. I'm with you on all those things. And we got to get skilled up to be able to handle those things. But more specifically, when we got them on the phone, we're trying to build a relationship with the customer. We're trying to find out as much as we can. They call you and they're inquiring about a car they saw online. Fantastic. Mr. Johnson, can I place you on a brief hold real quick? Let me see if the car's still available. Great. I'm looking it up on my computer right now, by the way. And also, by the way, where are you calling from? Okay, great. And how long have you been looking, by the way? I'm starting to create dialogue as I'm looking for the car in inventory. Okay, I want to take that time to slow it down to find out what brought them into the market. These are the things, remember, they're calling you or you're finally reaching somebody from an internet inquiry, and as soon as you get off the phone, they're calling somebody else, and they're calling somebody else. And the differentiation between you and that other salesperson is going to be the key in whether we put this appointment together. So we want to build a relationship. We want to find out as much as we can about the client, what they're looking for, what are their hot buttons, what brought them into the market, what else are they considering? Is it just price? Is it a certain model, make, year? Where are they calling from? Is this guy calling you from South Carolina and your dealership's located in Tampa, Florida? Think about it. And then you're going to get beat up on price, but yet he's calling you from South Carolina. I mean, there's a reason why he's calling you from South Carolina. You've got the car, you've got the color, you've got the make, the model, or you got the best price, or all variations of that. So remember that and have confidence, because you're going to have to take control of the conversation and do it in a skillful, tactful way. Okay, so we build our rapport. Now listen, now we got to get to the point where we ask for the customer, we got to ask for the appointment. So what you always want to do is you want to make sure that you're always giving up. Once you relay some information, you're having some rapport. So you always want to ask for it. So I'd love for you, Mr. Johnson, to come in and take a look at the vehicle. I've got 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and if I need to wait till 6, I can do that for you as well. I've got an opening there. And you wait. Well, I can't make it today. Perfect. No problem. Let me look at my schedule for tomorrow. Would tomorrow or the next day be better for you? Maybe Saturday. Perfect. Got you. Let me look at my schedule on Saturday. Now, it may be Monday. Now, I want you to know going in, if you're setting an appointment that's longer than 72 hours from the date you're setting it, you got a 25% chance this customer's going to show. You already know you're diminishing your show ratio. You're already going to have an issue there. That's okay. Let's keep advancing the ball down the field and keep moving. We want to ask the customer for the appointment. We want to nail down a time. And then what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're clear, that we're giving them an overview of the appointment and the time. This is where you make it stick. So if you're listening, this is it. This is where I say, Mr. Johnson, here's the deal. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. I've got you locked down for 2 o'clock. Well, just so you know, I understand that time is very, very important to you. We survey a lot of our customers, and we know that customers don't want to waste time, and your time is valuable to me. So here's what I'm going to do. Before your arrival, I'm going to actually pull the car offline. I'm going to actually make sure the car's cleaned. It's got gas in it, and I'm going to pull the car up front, and I'm actually going to put a hang tag in it with your name on it, just to make sure everybody knows that you're coming. And I'll put the time on there. And so just to confirm, you and I are getting together at 2 o'clock. And so I want to make sure that if something were to come up on your end, would you please do me a favor and give me the courtesy to let me know that you may not be able to make it, we need to reschedule or do something different. They're going to acknowledge, sure, no problem, fantastic. And what I'm going to do is if something comes up on my end, which it won't, but if it does, I will extend the same courtesy to you as well if something were to come up. But your time's important, and I thank you for setting aside that time. When we get off, I'm also going to make sure you have the address to the dealership as well. Have a wonderful day. Boom, you hang up the phone, you got your appointment set. Now, so here's the best part of the deal. You nail down that appointment, and when you try to call and confirm, and we will confirm appointments the night before, right, and even the morning up. But as a salesperson, here's what I want you to do, because a lot of times you'll have a 40 or 50% confirmation ratio. So that means basically we got 30 appointments on a Saturday and we've got 17 confirmed. Well, think about it. Why would we only have 17 appointments confirmed, but we have 30, right? So people are already starting to alter their plans. Maybe appointments were set a week in advance. They forgot about you and they've already set a couple of appointments with a couple of dealerships, or they forget which dealership you are. Too many times, we've got to make sure that when we set this appointment up, the day of the appointment, I want you to get the car. I want you to make sure there's a quarter tank of gas in it. I want you to make sure the car is back in detail. There's no McDonald's, cups in the back. I want you to make sure it's clean, it's vacuumed. It doesn't have to be flawless or detailed, but get it ready to go. Take it up front, park it, back it in, put the hang tag with Johnson's name on it, put VIP, okay? And then I want you to send them a video. I want you to send them a real short video, a little selfie video with you in there. Hey, Miss Johnson, this is Louie down here at ABC Honda. I just want to let you know, car's pulled up, gas up, just like I told you it would be. I look forward to seeing you at 2 o'clock. Again, if something were to come up, please feel free to text me if that's easier for you. Otherwise, I can't wait to see you. Again, here's your 2017 Suburban we talked about. I got the VIP tag waiting for you. I look forward to seeing you. The end. Okay, so what I want you to understand is when you send the video to the consumer via text, if something were to come up, it's much easier for them to text you back. If you call and leave a message, they're ignoring you, they're evading you. It's harder to get that confirmation. So this is a way where when you send it the day of, as soon as you send the video, whoop, send the video, immediately go to Google, boop, send the address. So they should have a professional video from you as well as the address to the dealership and the appointment time. Look forward to seeing you right there. If they're going to have an issue, they will give you the courtesy 9 times out of 10 to say, hey, Louie, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it. Can we reschedule? Hey, I've already bought a car on Tuesday. I apologize. Hey, I can't make it today. Something's come up. Whatever. You get some correspondence. Now you can have some kind of closure on what your next steps may be. So you want to get an appointment to stick. You want to get an appointment to show. You've got to send the video the day of. You got to make sure there's a VIP hang tag in there. You got to make sure the car is backed up, gassed up, cleaned up, ready to go. You got to send Google directions. You got to be a pro. You got to be professional. When you're setting the appointment on the phone, give them the overview and let them know that if something were to come up, I need you to give me the courtesy and I'll do the same, and explain to them, here's what I'm going to do. On Friday, I'm going to pull the car around. I'm going to make sure it's got gas in it. I'm going to make sure it's cleaned up. I'm going to make sure it's backed in with a hang tag with your name on it. You have to slow this down so they're clear of how you are maximizing their time, because that's the most important thing to them is their time. So a couple points to remember as we wrap this thing down. I want you to understand. Number one, slow the call down, build a relationship. This is just like a meet and greet face-to-face. Slow the call down, build a relationship. Number two, these customers don't show more times than not because you guys play the hope and the wish game. And why do I say you guys? Because I used to do the same thing. I sold cars, remember? Wasn't that long ago, even though it was 25 years ago, but you would set an appointment and you, somehow, some way, guys, you'll set an appointment for Monday and they're coming on Thursday, and you think if you just avoid them Tuesday, Wednesday, and then try to call them on Thursday, you think they're going to show, you think they're going to post, it's not going to happen. Don't play the wish game. You set an appointment and it's longer than 72 hours, you need to be following up with them via text and reminding them and making sure you stay on top of mind, or they will go elsewhere. Always remember, any appointment set that's longer than 72 hours, 25% of those customers are not going to make it. All right, you're going to have a 25% show ratio. You're going to diminish your show ratio in half if you keep setting appointments that are longer than 3 days. Remember, the goal is to set 3 appointments a day, guys. 3 appointments a day is your target. Set appointments every single day. So listen, I hope this was beneficial to you in helping you understand the value, number one, of appointments. Number two, getting them to stick and getting them to show. The appointments are the lifeblood of what you have in the dealership, especially as your livelihood is concerned. It's vital to make sure, because you can't rely on the upbus. You've got to be an appointment machine. So, guys, this is Louie Herron, Sales to CEO. Hey, let's connect. You can come to my Sales to CEO Facebook page. Also, check us out on YouTube. And if anybody needs anything, feel free to text me. My cell phone number is 904-580-6928. Until the next episode, guys, good selling, and let's get you to the next level. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the Sales to CEO podcast. Look, real simple, do me a big favor. Number one, I'm totally grateful you took the time to listen, but share this, like, subscribe. This is how we build our network of growing people in the car industry to the next level. Again, like or share or subscribe right now. Until the next one, great selling, and let's go to the next level.